The Ark of the Covenant was the most sacred object for the ancient Israelites. It was built by Moses under the exact specifications given to them by God found in Exodus 25:10-16. God emphasized to Moses to see to it that they make them according to the pattern which was shown him on the mountain. Verse 40. In the Old Testament, the Ark was the place the Israelites' high priests could go at the Holy of Holies once a year during Day of Atonement or Yom Kippur to have the sins of Israelites forgiven. Where is the Ark of the Covenant? Is it in Ethiopia? Is it in Egypt? Is it in Mount Nebo in Jordan? Is it in Qumran? Is it in Mount of Olives? Or is it beneath the Temple Mount? Let us find out in this video where is the location of the Ark of the Covenant. 1. What is the Ark of the Covenant? God made a covenant with Abraham and his descendants. He promised blessing to them if they obey his law, but he warned of punishment and dispersion if they were to disobey. As a symbol of his covenant, God asked Moses to make a wooden box or ark according to his own design, in which the Ten Commandments written in stone tablets are to be placed there. It is also called Ark of Testimony, that refers to the conditional agreement between God and the children of Israel at Mount Sinai. So the Ark of the Testimony is the box of the agreement, or popularly known as the Ark of the Covenant. This ark was made of acacia wood overlaid with gold, and to be housed in the sanctuary of the tabernacle in the desert, and later in the temple when it was built in Jerusalem. The real significance of the Ark of the Covenant was what took place involving the top of the box, known as the mercy seat. The term mercy seat comes from a Hebrew word meaning to cover, appease, cleanse, cancel, or make atonement for. It was here that the high priest was to make atonement for the children of Israel for all their sins once a year, as mentioned in Leviticus 16:34. He would enter the Holy of Holies where the ark was kept and atone for his sins and the sins of the Israelites. The priest sprinkled blood of a sacrificed animal onto the mercy seat to appease the wrath and anger of God for past sins committed. This was the only place in the world where this atonement could take place. 2. What was inside the Ark of the Covenant? First, the stone tablets of the Ten Commandments. God told Moses to place inside the ark the stone tablets inscribed with the terms of the covenant. We can see that in Exodus 25:16. Second, the bowl of manna. In Exodus 16:33-34, God told Moses to take a jar and fill it with manna to preserve for future generation. He commanded Moses and Aaron to place it in the Ark of the Covenant. Third, Aaron's staff. After the rebellion of Korah, God also told Moses to place Aaron's rod at the Ark of the Covenant as a sign of God's blessing on the Levitical priesthood. Numbers 17:8-10. So, by the time Israelites reached the Promised Land, the ark was associated with the items mentioned in Hebrews chapter 9 verse 4, the stone tablets, the bowl of manna, and the staff of Aaron. Third, let us trace the journey of the Ark of the Covenant. The first time to mention the Ark of the Covenant was in Exodus 25:10. God gave Moses direction to build the Ark of the Covenant at the foot on Mount Sinai. Second, Exodus 40 verses 1-21. In the first month of the second year, on the first day of the month that the tabernacle was raised up, God told Moses to bring the ark into the tabernacle at the most holy place. Third, in Leviticus 16, Numbers 4, 10, and 14, and Deuteronomy 10, the ark is carried for 40 years in the wilderness. Fourth, in Joshua chapter 3, priests carry the ark as the Israelites cross the Jordan River. Fifth, Joshua chapter 6. The ark is carried as they march around the city of Jericho. 6th, Joshua 18. The Israelites set up the tabernacle of meeting in Shiloh, where the ark rested for many years. 7th, in 1 Samuel chapters 5 to 6, Israel made war with the Philistines but lost. The ark was captured and was in the country of the Philistines 7 months. 8. 1 Samuel 7. The ark remained in Kiriath Jearim for 20 years till Prophet Samuel began his prophetic ministry. 9. 2 Samuel chapter 6. When King David moved the ark to Jerusalem for the first time, Uzzah was struck dead for touching the ark, and the ark remained in the house of Obed-Edom for 3 months. 10th. Then the Levites carried the ark to the city of David, and David danced before the Lord with all his might. 2 Samuel 6:14. David then placed the ark in a tent that is set for the ark. 11. In 1 Kings chapter 8, Solomon built the temple and put the ark at the most holy place permanently. To summarize, it started from Goshen, then to the foot of Mount Sinai, to the wilderness for 40 years, then crossing the Jordan River, marching up the city of Jericho, then remained in Shiloh for many years. It was captured by the Philistines for 7 months, then moved to Kiriath Jearim till the ministry of Prophet Samuel. Then David moved it to Jerusalem, but Uzzah was struck to death for touching it. Then David asked the Levites to carry it and bring back to the city of David and place in the tent of David. In time of Solomon, he built the temple and put the ark at the most holy place permanently. 4. Where is the Ark of the Covenant? Will it ever be seen again in the last days? The location of the Ark of the Covenant is an issue that has captivated the attention of many theologians, Bible students, and archaeologists for centuries. During the time of King Jehoiakim, around 600 BC, King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon came up against him and bound him to carry him off to Babylon. Nebuchadnezzar also carried off some of the articles from the house of the Lord and put them in his temple in Babylon. However, the Bible is silent about the Ark of the Covenant. We can see that in 2 Kings 25, 1-5, 2 Chronicles 36, 5-8. In this captivity, Daniel and other prominent Jews were carried off to Babylon too. We can see that in Daniel chapter 1. About 15 years later, on 586 BC, Nebuchadnezzar returned to capture Jerusalem, killed King Zedekiah and his sons, and raided the temple, taking what was left in the temple, and then burned it and the city to the ground. 2 Kings 25, 1-10. But nothing mentioned about the ark. Was it taken by Nebuchadnezzar? Was it destroyed with the city? Or was it removed and hidden away safely? So, the Jewish people were carried captives until the time of Zerubbabel and Haggai, who started to restore the temple as per instruction of King Cyrus of Persia on 539 BC. 100 years later, on 444 BC, Nehemiah returned to Jerusalem to restore the wall and the city, but on these 2 occasions, not even once had mentioned about the ark. 5. Are there other sources about the location of the ark? One interesting account in the apocryphal book of 2 Maccabees chapter 2, written about 125 BC in Greek language, is about the Ark of the Covenant. Though Jews and Protestants reject most of the doctrinal issues present in this book, Roman Catholic and Greek Orthodox consider this work to be canonical and part of the Bible. This book of 2 Maccabees reports that just prior to the Babylonian invasion on 586 BC, the prophet Jeremiah, following a divine revelation, ordered that the tabernacle and the ark should accompany him. And he went off to the mountain which Moses climbed to see God's inheritance at Mount Nebo, as mentioned in Deuteronomy 34:1. The story said that when Jeremiah arrived there, he found a room in a cave in which he put the tent, the ark, and the altar of incense. Then he blocked off the entrance. We can see that from chapter 2, verses 4 to 5. And as the story continues, it says, "Some who had accompanied him went along to mark the way, but couldn't find it again. When Jeremiah found out, he rebuked them and said, 'The place will remain unknown until God gathers the people together again and shows mercy. Then the Lord will disclose these things. The Lord's glory will appear with the cloud as they were revealed in the time of Moses, and when Solomon prayed that the place might be made holy.'" Chapter 2, verses 6 to 8. It is not known if this account is accurate since it is recorded in an apocryphal book. However, even if it is true, we will not know the exact location until the Lord comes back, as the account itself claims. 6. How about other modern sources? Other theories concerning the whereabouts of the lost ark include Rabbi Shlomo Goren, Rabbi Yehuda Getz of the Western Wall in Jerusalem. They claimed that the ark is hidden beneath the Temple Mount, having been buried there before Nebuchadnezzar could steal it away. Their evidence comes from the Talmud in the time of King Josiah. In 1982, the rabbis began to dig to the Western Wall and under the Temple Mount secretly. However, the Muslims discovered their diggings under the Dome of the Rock. The search aborted and entrance to the tunnel leading to the cave sealed. There are speculations that the ark is hidden in a secret place under the ruins of the old temple, consistent with the rabbi's claims, a promise in 1 Kings 8:13, where God will dwell forever in his house. Today, the Temple Mount is now home to the Dome of the Rock, an Islamic holy site, and the local Muslim community refuses to allow it to be excavated. So we cannot know if Rabbis Goren and Getz are correct. In the 12th century, Maimonides, also known as Rambam, the medieval Sephardic Jewish philosopher from Cordova, Spain, considered one of the most prolific and influential Torah scholars in the Middle Ages, recounted from the ancient sages his knowledge about the location of the Ark of the Covenant. He argued that the Ark rests beneath the Temple Mount, directly below the Dome of the Rock, where the original Holy of Holies existed. His reference is found in 2 Chronicles 35, verse 3, when King Josiah hid the ark from the Babylonians before they came. When Solomon built the temple in 960 BC, he was aware that it would ultimately be destroyed by enemies, so he constructed a chamber in which the ark could be entombed below in a very deep vault. In time of Josiah, he instructed his people, saying, "Put the holy ark in the house which Solomon, the son of David, king of Israel, built. It shall no longer be a burden on your shoulder. Now serve the Lord your God and his people Israel." 2 Chronicles 35:3. This verse gives us idea that the Ark of the Covenant was not in the original location when the Babylonians came, but hidden by King Josiah in a secret chamber beneath the temple building which was built by Solomon long time ago. Whether that location beneath the Temple Mount will bring the Ark of the Covenant out, the ancient Jewish Midrash promises. When the Jewish people are gathered in from the exile from the four corners of the world, they will suddenly find the holy vessels of the temple. The famous Ethiopian Kebra Nagas, or the Glory of the Kings, is a 14th century document and is considered by many Ethiopian Christians to be a historically reliable work. It is considered to hold the genealogy of the Solomonic dynasty, which followed the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. The document contains an account of how the Queen of Sheba, or Queen Makeda of Ethiopia, met King Solomon, and about how the Ark of the Covenant came to Ethiopia, with their son Menelik I having a divine assistance while the replica was left in the temple in Jerusalem. The document also discusses the conversion of the Ethiopians from the worship of the sun, moon, and stars to that of the Lord God of Israel. In 1992, Graham Hancock, British writer and journalist, published a book entitled The Sign and the Seal, The Quest for the Lost Ark of the Covenant. In this book, he argued that the Ark had been stowed away in St. Mary of Zion's Church in Aksum, an ancient city of Ethiopia. However, no one has yet found it there. But the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church claims to possess the Ark of the Covenant in Aksum many hundred years before the birth of Jesus Christ. They said that the object is currently kept under guard in a treasury near the Church of Our Lady Mary of Zion. So many has been said and written about the Ark of the Covenant. Other writers spoke metaphorically, some spiritually, others theologically, while some of the present location of the Ark. People are interested in it because, as a receptacle of holy items that originated from ancient times with God's blessing, the Ark of the Covenant was no ordinary box. The Bible shows it to possess a great power to bless God's people and destroy the enemies of God. And interestingly, Revelation 11:19 mentioned the Ark as being in heaven. Then God's temple in heaven was opened, and within his temple was seen the Ark of his covenant. This verse has led some to speculate that the Ark was taken up to heaven to be preserved there. But the Ark that John sees in his vision of heaven is not the same Ark that Moses constructed. We know that the articles in the tabernacle were copies of the heavenly things. We can see that in Exodus 25:40 and Hebrews 9:23. It means the box itself was a copy and shadow of what is in heaven, Hebrews 8:5. In the end, the Ark remains lost to all except God. Interesting theories like the ones presented above continue to be offered, but the Ark has yet to be found. All of these speculations and opinions may be right. However, we may not find out what happened to the lost Ark of the Covenant until the Lord himself returns. Thank you for being here. May the Lord bless you always. Stay safe. Write your comments. Don't forget to subscribe. God bless.